Element features 4 main sections, which are grouped by function and color. Waves cause these sections, the voice generation and subtractive elements in blue, modulation sources and patches in purple, arpeggiator sequencer in red, and effects, EQ, global, and output sections in green. Everything in synthesis starts with some type of noisemaker, and because the sounds that reach our ears are the result of waves of pressure moving through the air, that noise starts with wave makers that we call oscillators. Element features 2 tunable oscillators, as well as 3 other types of noisemakers that you can use as building blocks for more complex sounds. Once you have these noises, you want to be able to shape the sound, and that's where the voltage-controlled filter, often just called the filter, comes in. As I said in the introduction video, Element is a virtual analog subtractive synthesizer. With subtractive synthesis, the idea is to take a frequency-rich waveform and then filter out or subtract information from it to sculpt the sound, much like a sculptor removes material from a slab of stone to create the form of a statue. In addition to the character of the sound, you generally also want to be able to control how its volume responds when a key is pressed. You may want the sound to start immediately at full volume when you press the key and to stop immediately when you let go. But what if you wanted it to fade in slowly when the key is pushed, or linger on after it's released? The voltage control amplifier section gives you the ability to shape the attack, decay, sustain, and release of a sound to give it more expressiveness. Sometimes you may see this section referred to generically as the envelope, but the same type of envelope can be used to control parameters other than volume as well, so we'll be sure to look at this concept in depth. While the oscillators provide us with the building blocks we need to make sounds, modulators take the very regular, predictable wave patterns provided by the oscillators and modify them in some way, usually over a period of time, making the resulting waveform more complex and more interesting to the ear. To accomplish this, the modulation matrix allows you to assign up to 6 modulation sources to variable parameters elsewhere in the Element interface. This may sound a little confusing at first, but it's pretty simple once you look at some examples, and the possibilities are virtually endless. The arpeggiator sequencer section allows you to program and perform complex repeating patterns of notes and gated sequences for rhythmic interest. When set to one of 4 arpeggiator modes, the synth will respond only to the notes pressed on your MIDI keyboard or sent to the input by your DAW. The sequencer, on the other hand, can build patterns up to 16 units long using the integrated step sequencer interface, allowing you to play a complex series of perfectly timed events with the press of a single key. Finally, the effects, global, and output section allows you to add further complexity and interest to your sounds by applying distortion, bit crushing, stereo delay, reverb, and chorus effects. There's even a built-in graphic EQ with an integrated high-pass, low-pass filter as the final step before the master volume control and output. So, the oscillators generate the sounds, which are then passed to the filter, or VCF. From there, the sounds go to the VCA for volume envelope shaping. The output of the VCA passes into the effects chain and then out the master output. The modulator section is used to alter the parameters of nearly any control in the sound chain, and the arpeggiator sequencer can be used either to control the pitch of the oscillators or as a modulator to modify parameters of the modules in the sound chain. Now that we've had an overview of what each section of Element does, we can start to dig into the specifics of each one. First, however, we'll need to look at some basic wave theory that's absolutely essential for any discussion of synthesis.